The following is a message on behalf of Oh No and Streamline Mortgage Solutions. See, I told you it would be like this.
I just didn't know. I was doing my best.
Yeah, well, I told you, you stupid idiot. If you wanted a good rate on a mortgage or wanted to explore the super low interest rates right now, you should have called Streamline.
Why?
Seriously, I told you. You can get it all done at home, over the phone, or online. Just call them at 407-898-4477 or visit streamlineflorida.com. You see, you made the biggest mistake, underestimating the power of saving money. We could have made millions together had you not jeopardized our love and chosen to use another mortgage company. We could have had our jet skis.
I know.
If you're thinking about buying or refinancing your home in Florida, please check out Streamline Mortgage Solutions at streamlineflorida.com or give them a call again at 407-898-4477. They will let you know if it's the right financial decision for you and your family, as Brian Zymel and his team pride themselves on providing the best customer service in the industry.
Just let them know that Oh No sent ya. Oh.
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God! We have a new champion!
Welcome back to yet another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. I forget what number we're on, but I know we're getting close to 100. I know we're right around there. I feel like we're
approaching.
only,
I think we're in like 96 or something.
yeah, 96, 97, somewhere around there. Well, when we post the episode, I'll look it up and find out, but
We'll count it.
yeah. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the show. I am the Shartbreak Kid. My name is Owen, and along with me tonight is my good friend, the King of Bong Style, my good buddy, Duncan. Unfortunately, our champion is unable to join us. Our predictions champion, I should say, is unable to join us once
The
again.
only champion that really matters.
Yeah, the only champion that matters.
This is 97, by the way.
Yeah. He's working. Yeah, unfortunately, like the dude just works too goddamn much. We get on his case about it. But that being said, you got the two best looking motherfuckers in podcasting.
In case you couldn't tell.
In case you couldn't tell, right in front of you. I like your glasses. I like
Thank you.
you're rocking some. What are those? What are those even?
Oh, these are my Sasha specials.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like the LMFAO type glasses.
Yes, I am party rocking and sexy and I know it.
I'm surprised you even knew both those songs. To be
I worked at the factory at the same time you did.
Yeah. Oh, boys. Sorry, boy, my buddy. We do have to start off.
I have multiple voices. It's okay.
It's probably why.
It's probably applicable.
But we do have to start off on kind of a down note. Obviously, the
take off
rest.
the glasses.
Yeah.
Be serious for a minute.
I'll even do the same. I'm sure everybody in the wrestling world knows by now the tragic news of Brodie Lee, Luke Harper, John Huber his real name, his passing. And it really, this one got me, more than, we see wrestling deaths a lot, unfortunately, because of how hard it is on their bodies and how hard it is to keep up the schedule of being a pro wrestler. But 41 years old.
Not only 41, right? But 41 and not a hard partying,
No.
like 80s
family
style.
man. Family
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, family guy. So, like, for that to happen, it's just like, oh shit. And literally, it happened. Like, we got the news. We were gonna do one of our marathon chat sessions.
Yeah.
And I literally just opened up Instagram, and the first thing I saw was the AEW posted obituary, and I was just like, what the fuck? And yeah, man, like, a non-COVID related lung disorder. And so I did some more reading into it as more information has come out. And apparently shortly after the dog collar match with Cody, he had, was it an ankle or a knee injury?
Feel like it was an ankle. It was being
I think it was
reported
an
as an
ankle injury,
ankle.
so he had to rehab that. And
So we kind of knew he was injured and was going to be off TV for a little while.
Sure.
So we thought. That's what we had.
Well, yeah, and that was the case for
Right.
a while. And so apparently he was, getting ready to come back, and he was doing a workout
He was riding his Peloton bike
and couldn't finish the
In-
workout.
in Jacksonville, I believe.
I'm not sure.
I think.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
I know that he was hospitalized for a good amount of time in Jacksonville. I don't know.
Well,
if
they took him to the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. I don't know
Right.
if he was initially hospitalized in Jacksonville. So
Gotcha.
I would not speculate as to where
No.
he was on his bike
Right.
when this happened.
But he had like shortness of breath. He was obviously not doing.
Yeah, like got winded and in a way that he shouldn't have, and obviously
Right.
in a way that was concerning. And basically his lungs just stopped working
Now,
for
instant thoughts and its speculation went quickly in this day and age to
Oh my
the
God.
obvious of it being a COVID related situation. I feel like a lot of people jumped to that and reported it way too quickly. That's one of my big issues, but I understand why they might have initially done so.
sure.
It's just bad journalism, really, at the end of the day,
Yes.
to do that without knowing, especially right now with everything that's going on, and then it starts to paint AEW in a bad light, and it starts to paint all these types of things, and it's I wonder if that was done sort of semi maliciously in a sense.
I don't, because that's just playing into drama that wrestling fans wish was existing. You know what I mean? Like, drama fans wrestling fans are drama fans, and they want things to be more salacious than they oftentimes are.
That's true.
I think what it was a dirt sheet trying to
Boost some
break-
numbers.
break a scoop or whatever.
Right.
And like, they're like, oh, well, chances are it is. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
I do have questions though about that, because like I'm curious what comes out down the road, because lungs just stop working, or like a lung complication. It's strange that you don't get like, hey, he developed pneumonia or something that, like, you usually find out some more medical term, I suppose, than just
Well, I mean,
lung
also
complications.
yeah, but at the same time, a grieving widow
Right.
isn't necessary. Like, and honestly, fuck the fans.
Yeah.
You got enough information.
Especially at this point, maybe down the road, that
Honestly, this
Even
is
if it
my
doesn't.
problem. I think that too many people feel that they are entitled to information that they are not. It
Yeah.
doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, doesn't matter what the cause was.
It even goes back to what we kind of talked about a few weeks back with, Chad Too Bad, or, Carl Anderson's whole situation with, a possible, like, was he cheating on his wife and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
none of our business. None of our business.
Wrestling fans, people who are into, like, people who are fans of celebrities, things like that. Like
the TMZ factor.
Yeah, like you feel like you're owed more information because they're a public figure.
Right.
And it's just like, you want your shit put on blast?
Mm-hmm. Especially with a grieving family like this. Like, that's with two young kids as well. Like, I didn't realize Brodie Jr. is only 8 years old.
8? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how old his daughter is, but no, is it 2 sons or is it? Maybe I'm getting that mixed up. I can't remember.
It was a son and a daughter. I don't know. In any case, Brodie Jr. already signed to AEW.
I know. It's an amazing story, and we'll get to that in just a second. But I want to I just want to
before we like get into the actual, like, I think that it's important for wrestling fans to understand that the wrestlers that they watch and or idolize and or are fans of, whatever, like, they are people too.
Yep.
And it is not fair to put different standards on them than you put on either yourself or the people in your real life just because they are public figures, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's fucking business if nude pictures get leaked. Nobody's fucking business how anybody dies. Nobody's fucking business what happens behind closed doors of a marriage. Right? It's nobody's business. And we all, as wrestling fans, need to stop acting like we're entitled to know these things, because we're not.
Well put.
So
it's very well put. I just wanted to kind of, say about Brodie Lee that one of the things that we do all, I think, as a collective wrestling community, fan community, we've all said for so long how underrated he's and underutilized he was, especially in WWE. And when he made the jump to AEW, it was a great signing. It was somebody that, like, wow, like, we can see now that they're going to do something with this guy that's not just a tag team bruiser that has crazy eyes and that worked, for a period. He had quite a successful run at times in WWE. He's a former IC champion.
champion,
which a lot of people forget, and multiple-time tag champion, I want to say.
And was with Bray Wyatt during the most formative part of
the best part of the Wyatt family.
Absolutely.
And he was always seen as kind of like, Rowan was there, but everyone knew, like, no offense to Rowan, and I think Rowan would even say this, but
it was always Harper and Rowan.
Yeah, Harper was the standout of the two. That was very clear in a lot of different ways. I didn't appreciate that where he got his name until his passing. Do you know the story?
The Brodie part?
Both parts.
Well, Brodie is after Bruiser Brodie.
It's actually not what he says in a couple of interviews. And I always assumed that. I definitely always assumed that because there's a certain likeness between the two. Like the wild hair.
They definitely have the hair and the beard.
Yeah, like there's definitely, like, so I always thought it was that as well. Apparently, before he had grown that beard, and when he was clean shaven back in the Indies, he was a clean shaven big guy, but he actually resembled Jason Lee, who plays Brodie in Mallrats. And they combined the Brodie from Mallrats with Jason Lee, and it became Brodie Lee, which is an interesting little tidbit I had no idea of. I like that it also does with the Brodie thing. It, of course, pays homage to Bruiser Brodie. and it really obviously became, I mean, a more fitting name than Luke Harper, realistically. Like he started as Brodie Lee, moved to, of course, being Luke Harper, and then was cool that he
Right.
went back to, in his AEW days, to his original name. He could have picked anything in the world, but it was cool that he kind of went back to his.
Yeah, but he went back to what he was known as on the indies. And it's funny too because like Randy Orton did a post for him, and he, like the first thing he said was like he calls him Luke
Mhm.
because that was how they were introduced.
That's
in
how they know each
WWE.
other.
That's how they know each other. So he's like names and wrestling are just kind of like
They are what they are, and I don't look down on that at all. Like
No,
that's fine.
exactly.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, for like he worked with, I think it was it 7 years? I want to say it was. He was with WWE.
Yeah, dude, it was a long
It's
time.
that's a good run,
Yeah.
and yeah, for 7 years, somebody as this name or this character.
Right.
It's hard to break that immediately, isn't it?
It's sort of like Jesse Ventura always calling Gorilla Monsoon Gino.
Yes, that's very, very true. And I mean, now I think we're over it, but it was hard when Moxley went to AEW to not try and
Not call him Dean.
not call him Dean.
Yeah.
And it was the same. I never had that though, really, with Luke Harper and Brodie Lee. Like it was,
Not
it was
really.
almost an instant thing. And I don't know why that is. It might be just that the way he was brought in as the exalted one with the Dark Order, and it was very like, I don't know if hammer down your face is the wrong terminology, but it clicked, and I guess from that moment on, like I didn't really think about Luke Harper ever again because he was this different
Yeah.
entity.
Oh, Luke Harper and Brodie Lee could not be more different characters.
Yes,
Right?
whereas John and Dean aren't that far apart, really.
Correct.
I guess
No,
that's
like,
maybe the difference.
You're pretty accurate on that one. I think that Moxley is the R-rated version of the PG-13 Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
So I think that, but dude, Luke Harper has this very specific place as like that big menacing, guy before Braun was involved, right? Like he was the scary muscle of
He
the
was
Wyatt
the heavy,
family.
yeah.
Yeah. And I liked that, but then I liked when what I love is AEW gave him the opportunity to talk.
Exactly, which they never really did. Very infrequently did he get on the
Very
mic.
infrequently.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he did have Bray, who's such a, when he was with him,
Of course.
that you're gonna give the Bray the mic, but
Absolutely.
but when it was just the two, Rowan and Harper, it was Harper that always did the talking. Even if it wasn't very much, it was never really Rowan. He might say a word or two, but
Right.
Harper was the promo of the duo.
100%.
So
100%.
we just
And
want
dude,
to. I mean, yeah, I want to just like send our respects, and there's something that interesting, of course, with that warrants talking about while we're on the subject of it, in the fact that so many wrestlers have seemingly come out of the woodwork, and no one, by the way, no one has had a negative word to say. Not that
Yeah.
you would with a person dying, but like it's
not true.
Yeah.
You see fucking people die and wrestling, like people come out and they're just like, yeah, he was a terrible fucking dirtbag. I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah,
Not a
warrior
single person.
warrior.
Not a
Yeah,
single person.
no, everybody, and just seeing how good of a family man he is, how like decent of a human being he was, and seeing a lot of wrestlers come out and put like, hey, for however long it's going to be, all the revenue of my Pro Wrestling Tees merch is going towards his family. He's been the top selling, I think he still is, the top selling guy on Pro Wrestling Tees right now, which is nice, like having.
And then Collar and Elbow is doing a collaboration to raise money. Like a lot of people are going to be doing things to make sure that the family's taken care of.
And it's like, because that's a long time to go without a father as well. Like you know?
Yeah. Well, and also, it's not that I don't think that AEW will be taking care of them as well, because I think that
they will.
AEW will absolutely make sure that they are taken care of.
If any of the signs of what they've already done, which I do want to talk about here in a sec, but like what they've already started doing and what they've already done are any indication, then absolutely. I think, this is AEW's first loss as well of a talent.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. The wrestlers that I find that have like done this, donating their revenue, being interesting are interesting to me. I mean, Big LG, Luke Gallows, that not terribly surprising. Mick Foley, not terribly surprising, just because it's Mick and he's such a fucking good dude.
Right.
But CM Punk.
But Punk?
That one was a little bit wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I thought too. I was like, oh,
look at you actually doing something that's not shitbaggy.
I mean, it just turns, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. but you understand why I thought,
dude, it's like, oh, and as far as I know, he was the first one that I saw announced.
I think he kind of led the charge.
Probably
for other people to do it. So kudos to Punk. Like, we don't get to say that much. So
it might be the only time I have ever and or will ever say that.
Credit where credit's due. The Facebook questions came in, of course, because I said that we were going to be talking about Brodie tonight, and our good friend Scotty Williams asks, do you feel like WWE's Brodie tribute was not enough or just right, considering his life was cut short and the fact he wasn't gone for years from the company? Also, the age range being another thing that makes him comparable to Bruiser 41 and 42. The main question there being, yes, do you think that WWE's Brodie tribute was not enough? Now, I'm happy that they did, of course, the graphic, which is, been done for a lot of people, like the graphic at the top of the show and kind of the moment of silence, if you will, in that just kind of like in their airtime. I thought that was appropriate, and I was on the fence. I didn't really think they would do a 10-bell salute for him. But given, like he says, how like he was still employed with them as far as like in March of this year. Like
right.
it's I guess just because it's so close that maybe I thought that might happen. I wasn't terribly shocked by it not happening, but I tell you what saved it with WWE, and it was the little tributes that happened in some of the matches that was those wrestlers. Yes, you are 100% correct. I have also heard they have been shooting. A lot of people were filmed shooting tribute stuff prior to Raw this Monday, and it might not have had time to air. They might not have time to edit it all together and put it together. I can see them putting something up on socials, or maybe even airing during SmackDown or before SmackDown as kind of an added tribute. Because if they've shot it, they're more than likely going to use it. And a lot of wrestlers have said that they've done so.
Sure. And I can see that, except for the fact that we know that WWE can put together packages in hours.
Yes.
So
it did feel like
if you're asking me, do I think that WWE's tribute was not enough? I do think it was absolutely not enough.
Yes.
Like I don't think it was enough at all. I think it was the bare minimum.
It was the bare minimum. You are correct. And again, the way I feel about it is simply just like you said, it was the wrestlers paying tribute, but that at least softened that blow a little bit for fans. I mean, Xavier in particular. Have you seen the spot where he does the whole thing where he pulls
and he does the discus
and like the crazy eyes and like the hand gesture and like kind of the pulling of the hair that he used to do, like like that whole like thing. And
Dude,
then,
the-
followed by
him
the lariat.
pretty much breaking down on Raw Talk after the show. And
Yes.
so yes, I get that. But that shows how good of people the wrestlers are compared to how callous of a company the WWE can be.
Yes.
So it's just like, it would not have killed them. Dude, fucking Benoit killed his family, and they put a tribute show together for the next goddamn night.
Yeah, they were able to pull that together. That's true.
So,
and at that point, there was a lot of crazy questions about the whole thing. Like,
we still didn't know that he was a murderer.
No, they didn't.
But this news broke on Saturday.
Yeah.
WWE had Saturday night, all day Sunday, and all day Monday until Raw aired to be able to put something together if they'd have wanted to.
Yeah, and they've got 7 years of footage.
Correct. They could have done a 60 to 90 second little thing at the top of the show.
That's what it deserved. I'm not gonna knock them for not doing a 10 bell salute.
No, they
for
don't
a guy
need to
that's
do what
not signed.
AEW's doing this week.
Well, that's that's it, isn't it? I mean, that's where the night and day thing comes in. Is that it looks like the whole. And I'm glad that they've taken this tact. Like the whole way that they've handled this has been pretty classy, and it sounds like whatever plans they had going into this holiday special, they were going to be doing a 2-week New Year's special type deal is what was being promoted. They've scrapped all those plans from the sounds of it. Every bit of those plans has been scrapped, and that from what I don't know how this came to be. I know that Brodie's son, Brodie Jr., is a huge wrestling fan, and it sounds like he maybe Tony Khan sat down with him and said, "Who do you want to see fight who?" Bless you.
Thank you.
And
the vape smoke gets up in the nose.
Got that COVID sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the COVID sneeze.
But no, it sounds like Tony Khan maybe sat down with Brodie's kid, Brodie Jr., and he's kind of let him or helped him book the show for Wednesday night. It's the dream matches for Brodie Jr. Again, being a huge wrestling fan, I'm sure he will be there in attendance.
Apparently, from what I heard, is 2 weeks ago after Dynamite, he pinned Kenny Omega to become the AEW champion. We never talked about this because it didn't really make too much of a splash, but now
it makes sense.
It makes more sense.
I haven't seen any of that stuff. I don't know if they've kept some of that stuff from airing.
I don't think it ever aired.
I don't think it ever aired. When we say dark match too, it's weird with AEW because they've got the fucking show, AEW Dark.
Dark.
So that's what confuses it.
It was an unaired, untelevised segment.
And I think he's been from the moment. And by the way, this is another shocking thing that Brodie Lee's been in hospital since October, the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long fucking time.
That's a lot, dude. It was practically right after the dog collar match.
Yeah. So it sounds like they've been having the family, the wife and kid, there at every single show and taping, backstage, hanging out with them. And he's come out a couple of times. He wears a Dark Order mask apparently, and he's come out with a kendo stick, and he's pinned Kenny Omega
in a segment that in our chat is which wasn't meant to be aired. It's not something that's because it's not an officially recognized reign or anything, but
it's not like Nicholas and Braun. It's just a
don't.
Sorry.
Just don't. God damn it.
But yeah, who said that in the chat, by the way? I'm not in there. Who's in there?
Oh, we got Wakefieldy in the chat.
Oh yeah, I know that guy. He's aight.
Yeah, he's aight.
He's aight. No,
does
yeah.
with that.
So yeah, it's one of those that it's really cool to see how they're treating the family. Like you said it earlier in the show, they've technically given him a contract so that when he turns 18 years old, if he wants to be a pro wrestler, he'll be signed with
He'll be signed
AEW
with the AEW.
from the get. And that's a beautiful thing. And I imagine that can apply. That's going to be one of those like, hey, you into tech, like you want a job backstage, you want a camera job, you want to,
you want to.
whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that they
He'll
will
be part of the family, and he can.
right.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. And dude, and that's very admirable of the cons and of AEW as a company.
Just shows how well they're taking care of them.
They don't want to, like, you don't want to leave your wrestlers in a lurch, and also you want to set a good example for
Right.
how things are going to go in the future. Unfortunately, this being professional wrestling, this will not be the last death that they have to address.
Yes.
So if they can set a good starting off point for how they treat their wrestlers and their family when the worst does happen, then they're already setting themselves as a totally different company than WWE.
Yeah, I mean, and I hate to say this, but I'm surprised it wasn't Jake. I don't wish death on anyone, but that dude has been looking
there's a difference
rough.
between wishing Jake, but he has fucking COPD.
Yeah.
And
Lived a very hard life.
And has been smoking for longer than we've been alive.
yeah. It was bound to happen.
Literally, I used to, God, there was an interview, somebody, I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about the best, it's like best warm-up routine I've ever seen. Maybe it was like on one of those Stone Cold interviews on the network or something, but he was just like, Jake Roberts, literally have the snake just sitting over there on a trash can, like nothing, pacing back and forth, smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
His music would hit. One last drag, snuff it out, throw the snake over his bag, walk out to the ring. I'm like, didn't warm up ever.
No stretching, no
stretching, no cardio, no warm ups, no nothing. Just went out there. And you know what? The fucked up thing is didn't need to.
Guy was awesome
because Jake was so cerebral dude, Jake didn't do moves quickly or like,
nope,
but he made the shit count.
That was part of his allure, is that he was so different, and he, the way he delivered promos and the way it was always that calm,
I love Jake
brooding
the Snake, dude, back
style.
in the day.
Like heels really didn't exist like that before him, and not many have since.
No, because he was fucking original in an era where all the villains were cartoony.
Yes.
Jake made you actually scared. Jake made you fucking really concerned about what was going to happen.
This is going to sound very weird, probably. And I know that he's a face currently, but I see some like interesting similarities in the way, in a delivery standpoint, with Jake and Keith Lee. It's that slow, very,
I could see that,
articulate, just pulling it down a notch rather than bumping it up those notches that most wrestlers typically do when we're doing a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the, that just, again, more cerebral. It's just a different energy, I suppose.
Absolutely.
That I can imagine with if they do ever turn Keith Lee heel, which I don't want them to do, by the way, not yet. But if they do, that he can use that tremendously to his advantage because of like that sort of like, it does come across more menacing, like you said.
Yeah, dude. And the thing about that's the kind of character work that really works in today's pro wrestling, and that's why Jake was so ahead of his time.
100%.
Because like, it's not cartoony, it's real. You feel it, you believe it, in an industry that you know everything is a work somehow. But if
Yes.
the character can make you believe that they are what they are, you like, I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
involved. Like, I'm invested. And I know Jake is like, I know Jake's a face, but he's, I don't know, face Jake is just not.
No, it doesn't work for it.
No.
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 Come on, man. Like, let him go back to like those first few promos that he cut on Cody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes, and Wakefieldy in the chat, exactly. Jake was whispering when everyone else was screaming. Like,
Very
it
well
was-
put. Very well put.
And it's that sort of thing that really gets missed in pro wrestling nowadays.
yeah.
Right? Like, you have too many people trying to scream everything all the time, and there's not enough, like, granted, wrestling fans aren't really built for subtlety anymore, but like the
Some of
subtlety
us
of it.
are. Some of
Us are. Some
Yeah.
of us definitely are. And that was, dude, I went back and I watched a couple of Brodie Lee matches from AEW, and then I watched the Being the Elite tribute.
Oh, man.
God, like,
I got teary-eyed a little bit.
I got teary-eyed a
it-
little bit, but I was laughing my dick off
Uh-huh.
the whole time when he's just like telling him to shut the fuck up.
Shut
And
the
he's
fuck up.
like, and now every time, I know that every time he's just like, are you crying? Are you? It was
There, it's because
they
they're
were
pissing
breaking and
themselves laughing. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. I absolutely fucking love it.
And the clip of when Trent's mom like is
and
Sue,
she throws the
she
papers on the ground.
She fucks up throwing the papers. He tells her to throw the papers. She fucks it up, throws them on the ground because Sue's a member of the Dark Order. Let's not forget that.
That's right.
Yeah. She throws the papers on. It just him, like you could tell how much he's dying laughing, like trying to hold it back. And it's those little things that you see, those peeks behind the curtain that you get, like those glimpses of like, no, this dude he's somebody that we would enjoy hanging out with. You know, like he's
Yeah.
clearly somebody that would be a fun, would have been a fun, interview, or just a guy to just, like shoot the shit
just
with.
like hang out with, like
Oh,
to just
totally.
have a random interaction with. And be
Yeah.
like, you'll never guess who I hung out with for a few hours.
I forgot the name of the referee too, but did you see this meme? It's been popping up. Referee in a WWE. Remember how he used to always do this when he was Luke Harper, when he would come to the ring and he would do this thing where we'd kind of like do this weird like stare at like the post before he would go into the ring. Like it was a weird little just thing he did.
Okay.
And so the ref would fuck with him. That at one point, I'm trying to find the exact story because okay, yeah, here it is. Brian Nguyen, I guess it is the Asian-y looking guy and the referee.
Damn it, Owen. Yeah.
I'm sorry, where he is.
I know.
Asian-y looking guy. So he's like, knowing that he did this every time, I once stuck a "Suck It Harper" sticker on the post right at eye level. He lost it. So I guess after the match, he proceeded to rip off the turnbuckle covers and carried the steps up the ramp, knowing I had to fix everything.
Amazing.
I imagine it's probably at a house show or something like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Like,
little stories like that just show you. You
Yeah.
know, it's like this.
my
dude was
favorite
cool.
part, honestly, was all of the Brodie laughter off camera
Yeah.
in the Dark Order bits.
Yeah.
It just hit her, and like just the caption of Brodie giggle, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, like it shit was good, and it sucks. It's like, man, it's like, though that one does hurt because it's such potential
Yes.
that the world won't ever get to see, and it wasn't because of drugs,
No.
and it wasn't because
It wasn't because of
something
him.
stupid.
He wasn't
Yes.
in his own way. Like it was
Right.
He was, yeah.
So
I will say Brodie Jr. booked a hell of a show, though.
Yeah, let's talk
Do you
about
want
that.
to? Do you want to talk about that?
Because I actually I looked at this and I'm just like, oh no, I want to see this.
Yeah, like every match is cool. So
first of all, we have I hope that Le Champion Chris Jericho on commentary. I hope that's for every match.
oh, they should. They might
really hope
they might as well.
just fucking Jericho and Excalibur going back and fucking
they're
forth
great.
at each other.
They're great together.
Oh my god. But yeah, I think that where do you want to start? Which match do you want to start with?
We'll just look at kind of what Tony Khan has posted, and
I have the photo of the card.
photo. Yeah. Well then, okay. You know what? Let's start on a because the way it's posted on this is kind of backwards. So if I were to guess, the weakest match of the night, I'm just saying, it would probably be the women's match, the Anna Jay, Tay Conti versus Britt Baker and Penelope.
Sorry, it's Britt Baker, DMD.
Sorry.
Put a little respect on that name.
And if you're Booker T, it's Penelope.
Penelope. I was in the jungle working for Penelope.
I kind of like this too because remember there was a whole thing with Anna Jay and Tay Conti in the past when they had the women's tournament, and they were kind of bonding. And Tay Conti was they were trying to lure her into the Dark Order. So Anna Jay and Tay Conti actually works in a kayfabe sense. So
sure.
So kudos in that regard.
I don't know that Dr. Britt and Penelope Ford really work together, but
probably not. But that might leave Anna Jay take Conti to actually get a cool victory. So which would and I guess on this particular show, none of these really matter as far as wins and losses. Let's be real. Let's try and take ourselves out of it to a degree.
It's just supposed to be a night of
tribute.
Yeah.
It's a tribute.
But dude, you look at it and I'm just like,
it's a good card.
I'm down with all of this.
Lance Archer, Evil Uno, and Stu. Which that's an interesting one too, because well, I'll just say this, but versus Kingston and Butcher and Blade. Kingston, Butcher, and Blade obviously make sense. They work together already. But
sure.
Last week, before any of this happened, we were actually talking about possible future plans of what you could do with Brodie Lee outside of the Dark Order, and how maybe he was feeling a little bit lost in a sense in the shuffle because
you literally made the mention
of Lance Archer and him being a good tag team together. So it's interesting now to see that. Yes, Lance Archer, Uno, and Stu. Maybe that's something that they can work into storyline as well. I mean, there's a lot that this is another Facebook question that we'll get to later of how they should develop the Dark Order moving forward, and we'll get to that in a bit. But Lance Archer, Uno, and Stu sort of fit in that regard in my mind. And again, Kingston, Butcher, and Blade. That'll also be a good match. Stu is underrated. There's a couple of those guys in the Dark Order that are underrated. 5 and 10
I'm pretty sure that Evil Uno and Stu Grayson were a tag team on the Indies.
Yes, I think they were. 100%.
So they have good chemistry
They've
together.
been working together for a while. They've done tag team, but at the beginning when they introduced the Dark Order, they were often wrestling in a tag team fashion with each other. So they
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's not a terrible shock. I love this. Hangman, Silver, and Reynolds.
Hangman, the handsome cowboy.
Yes, Hangman, the handsome cowboy.
Oh my god. They started singing. I started fucking dying. I was laughing my fucking ass off.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the Christmas Carol episode of BTE
A Christmas Carol ?
Yeah, if you haven't seen that yet, do yourself a favor and go watch it. You won't be disappointed.
Like Owen said to me, not every BTE is worth watching, but that one fucking was.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you finally did. I'm glad you finally
oh, it
did.
was so good. And I think, are we all gay for Josh Silver or for John Silver?
I'll 100%.
He's
He's the man.
amazing.
He's amazing. He's the
I
man.
fucking love Silver so much.
So yeah, Hangman Silver Reynolds versus MJF Santana and Ortiz. Obviously, that works because of the inner circle connections with MJF Santana and Ortiz. And
While we're on that while we're on that notion, John Lewis in the chat wants to know thoughts on Hangman being more involved in Dark Order, and do we think it fits?
So okay, I think before any of this happened with Brodie, I think it was going to, and I think they were moving in that direction quite nicely. Now that what has happened, I don't know that it's the right time. They might have to wait a little bit. They might have to push that back.
Yeah,
because
they might. Because it was such a natural build to Hangman and Brodie for Brodie to get his smile back or whatever. You know what I mean? Or for Hangman to get his smile back in that sense. But yeah,
I don't know. They have to treat it very delicately if they go that route. Like that's an interesting one that I would say if I was Tony Khan, I would hold off for at least like a month or two on doing something like that.
I'd give it a bit. You can still keep doing the sort of ridiculous Hangman walks in drinking and like that sort of interaction.
That's not going anywhere.
No, that's comedic gold.
Yes.
So just keep that going, and you can.
And now we can have him like just teasing little bits with like things with Silver and Reynolds and bits of the dark. Like I think you just I think you keep it going. If here's the deal, I don't necessarily want to see Hangman as the leader of the Dark Order unless he's the reluctant leader of the Dark Order. And right now that doesn't feel fitting. Like I want him to it would feel a little bit like taking the piss with Brodie. So I want to see him as a reluctant leader of the Dark Order at some point. I think they can get there, and I think if they just give it a little bit of time, that might be the right. Yeah,
they really can. You don't want to do it right away. Mm-hmm. I think if you make it a very long, instead of it's Hangman, will you join the Dark Order?
Will you lead
they're
us?
They're just like, hey man, will you lead the Dark Order? We need somebody. We don't know. We're lost without Mr. Brodie. We don't know. I think you do a couple of weeks of the Dark Order being sort of like in their emo phase, right? Like kind of.
I think they have to go. I think they have to go. Yeah, they're gonna have to do that. But eventually, at this point, because we've kind of already gotten there, they need to go full comedy with them.
Yep. I think after the last BTE, they pretty much have.
Yeah.
And I think that if you continue to work that angle, then it.
And that's how you get Hangman in there. That's how that works.
Yeah. And just Hangman's just drunk doing stuff. But
there was an interesting, I won't take credit for this, but an interesting kind of theory about how this, like, they're like calling this now, how the match ends. This match that we were just talking about with MJF, Santana, Ortiz, and Hangman, Silver, and Reynolds.
Sure.
And Hangman kind of will set it up. He'll do the buckshot lariat, and then let Silver do the discus to put him away as kind of like a tribute to Brodie. I think like if they did something like that, fine. I'd love it, and I'll probably shed a tear if that happens.
That'll be touching. That'll be definitely touching.
It's almost one of those two that I can see them putting that match on last somehow. That match being the closer of the night just because of the night that it is, because of Hangman Silver Reynolds with the Dark Order thing. And then
maybe I feel like they're going to put the Brodie Lee Jr. Dream match on last, though.
Which makes sense. Before we get to that one, though, we also have the Young Bucks with Colt Cabana.
Yes.
Versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. Now,
Yes.
no real reason for Colt Cabana and the Bucks to be,
Is there not a reason for Colt Cabana to be
Because
involved
he's part
in
of the
everything?
he's part of the goddamn Dark Order. He's
I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Give me more Colt Cabana.
I'm with you on that. I'm
Like,
fine with it.
100%. If you ask me what will make this better,
You know what? A dash of Colt Cabana would probably.
I think Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
What, in the match? I'm like, no, put him on commentary.
Doesn't
I don't give a
matter.
fuck what you do.
As long as
Give
he's
me
there.
more Colt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom,
So that
boom. I love Colt. I've got the boom, boom tattooed on my goddamn knee.
it will also be a fun match. Like that.
That will be a fun match because I can't wait to see. Oh man,
Private
Colt.
Party and Young Bucks already have great chemistry, but
I know,
the
but I'm just
comedy
thinking of the
gold,
goofy shit of
that
Colt
Matt-
and Matt Hardy.
that's what the match is. Like that's give me that as a singles feud anyway. Like just do that period. Like that.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Oh, I'd be so happy. I'd be so
That would
happy
be
with that.
amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. We did have John Lewis in the chat also said he thinks that Matt Hardy should start doing stuff with the Dark Order on BTE.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with it, especially after how much of an asshole he was on the last one to Private Party. Like, I
Yeah.
could see some sort of.
Well, he was rumored to be the original Exalted one.
Exactly.
And they did debut him and Brodie debuted on that same night, so they could even do an angle where it kind of makes sense that Matt Hardy might be, like the not replacing the Exalted, but you know what I mean, like kind of he could be a good leader for that because he's got the comedic stuff down. He's a veteran.
He keeps being inhabited by it's his vessel, and he's inhabited by different spirits. What if he just shows up and starts hitting people in the face with rolled up papers?
Dude, I'd be in.
I think if anybody can pull it off and
It'd
have
be
it
Matt.
not be insulting and have it be just the right level of Kazarni,
Yeah,
I think it's Matt Hardy.
I'm with you on it. That's a good point. I didn't really think of that until now. So thank you, Duncan, and thank you, John Lewis. But then, of course, we have the dream match, Brodie Jr.'s dream match for one night, of course. Cody Rhodes and Orange Cassidy and 10 versus Team Taz. which is funny.
I just love that because I'm looking at the picture of it.
Yeah.
And I just love Orange. I love Ten's in the back with his mask and smiling. Orange is orange, and Cody, even in the photo, you can tell he's just like, "What the fuck
What
am
is
I
going
doing on
on?
this team?"
Like, what is this? Yeah.
He's like, "How in the fuck?" It's
But-
gonna be amazing.
But it will be like they'll have some fun with it. And 10's an underrated. I said it earlier. 10's a very underrated wrestler as well.
Absolutely.
So they can use this as a decent spotlight for 10. And especially with some of the the Team Taz guys, you've got Brian Cage, right? Who would I assume would be in there? What's his face that is coming around? I'm coming around on Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks.
I didn't like him at first, but Ricky Starks I'm actually coming around on. I think he and 10 can have some good spots. I think it'll be a good spotlight for Starks, especially
Powerhouse Ricky Starks. Is that what they're calling him?
I don't know. That was the other one, isn't it? Well,
Powerhouse Will Hobbs.
Yeah. So if it's the three of them,
It is.
which it would be logically,
Yep, sure is.
versus, Cody Cassidy is just gonna be like him and I can't wait for the showdown between him and Brian Cage, because that's like just such a fun you can do a lot with that pairing because of how big Brian is and how.
Oh my god. I have to look and see if that's happened before.
It wouldn't really terribly surprise me, but because they both
Let's see.
they probably both float around those same indie circles. But yeah, that would be
they
fun.
they had a match that was at Beyond Wrestling. It was Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. Gonna have to watch that.
Yeah,
But then Orange Cassidy and Joey Ryan versus He Who Will Not Be Named
No.
versus Scott Steiner and Brian Cage. That's on there.
God,
Jordan
there's a
Grace.
Cassidy wrestled Steiner too. Can you imagine how angry Steiner would be at
I can
Orange
only
Cassidy?
imagine. I do think he took the dick flip, so at least he has the
Who Steiner did?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I think he did. Let's see. I think we've got Jordan Grace and Brian Cage versus Session Moth Martina. And I don't care about your stupid ad. GE Appliances. Skip ads. There we
Yeah,
go.
why are wrestling websites, by the way, always the fucking worst?
They're the absolute worst. Okay, so there is a intergender tag match of Jordan Grace and Brian Cage versus Session Moth Martina and Orange Cassidy.
Oh wow.
So
they have. So they've worked together.
They have worked together, which I think is one of the things that makes it so, like, I believe I've seen clips of them working together, and I'm totally yes, exactly. It's like there's clips of when Brian Cage is literally like working out with Orange Cassidy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you remember
doing
that?
I have seen that spot. Yes.
Yeah,
You're right.
so-
You're right.
So yeah, so I'm I'm looking forward to that. But yes, that will be a ridiculous match. I'm glad that they're doing some good matches that you can still work a storyline aspect into without
Yes.
overbearing it. You know what I mean?
It's not completely kids create a wrestler, and I think you know what I mean by that. Like it's still got some logic to it in some of the cases. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. And then the only thing that I guess really doesn't make sense is the dream match, just because of like 10 would never be with Cassidy and Cody.
Yeah, but I think it's because Brodie Jr. loves all of those wrestlers.
And that's fine.
So
and
that's
10
all you
wasn't
need.
that was what's his real name? What was he? Because he was wrestling under a different gimmick before he was in Dark Order. It's Preston something.
Preston
isn't it?
Vance.
Yeah, really good. Really good. I got to see him live before he was in Dark Order when I went on New Year's Day this past year.
Yeah.
And he was one of those that I was not familiar with, that I was really impressed by. I'm like, there's something with that guy. And I think he got injured with his knee for a little bit and came back as 10.
Right.
And and 5 really impressed me this past week on Dynamite as well.
Yeah.
5's
the Dark Order has like they've definitely got I think it's interesting how they've got the numbering gimmick like their Slipknot, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And I did like on this past week's Dynamite and how they've been trying to court Dustin Rhodes into Dark Order, and then wanted to call him Seven. And they talked about it on commentary and about how, of course, in WCW once upon a time, Dustin Rhodes was saddled with this horrible gimmick of Seven, and then remember he fucking blew up about it. He basically on live TV and said this gimmick's is shit, and like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because he was like he was Powder, but the child molester version.
He was
You
like
remember
Powder, but Powder, but kind of Undertaker, but kind of like I don't.
And watching kids through their
Yes, like that was the
windows.
thing. He would pop up and very. Ugh. Without
Sorry.
if you were to shave your beard, you'd be a bit powdery.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's the lighting, really, but also the fact that I haven't left my house in a billion years.
That's true too.
It's the 482nd day of 2020.
So another question from Facebook, which I think ties perfectly in with what we were just talking about, from our good friend Kyle Deuce. What do you think would and should happen with Dark Order going forward? Which is the first question, and are Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander dating? If so, should she join Best Friends? So we'll start with that first part, which we more or less have discussed in a way, because we talked about the how kind of we feel about the Dark Order and our you can, if you want to go simple with it just for the time being, Evil Uno was kind of like the centerpiece to begin with, to start with.
Yeah, he was the mouthpiece speaking for the Exalted One. So
Yeah, so you could go back to that a little bit while you kind of, especially in this time, like we talked about with Hangman, maybe kind of like just giving it a little bit more time before they do something more with that. Evil Uno is a clear, obvious choice for how maybe he's worried about like how he, without the Exalted One, he's worried about how he should lead the group, and he's under stress, and he's even looking for the leader of the group, like, because he knows he's doesn't
and
want to
then
be
you just have
it,
Silver trying to be the leader of the group and
Yeah.
fucking it up.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that there's a lot of ways that they can go with it while still paying honor to it in an appropriate way, but still keeping it funny.
The more I think about it, though, that idea that about with Matt Hardy like does kind of work for me. Like if
Yeah.
especially since it was so heavily rumored and I think was sort of half the plan to maybe have that happen, beforehand, it would serve him well.
Yeah.
And it would serve the Dark Order well. And it would be interesting as well if they wanted to do it. Like, yes, there's a bit of a shakeup with Private Party right now, but what if he can convince Private Party to come with him?
Man, you just make the Dark Order the new NWO.
I mean,
Kind
kind of.
I mean, kinda.
I don't hate it though.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
I mean, it could be worse. And then are Chris Statlander and Orange dating? Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, they were feeding. He was feeding her stuff on. I mean, maybe not. I don't.
They've always had this weird little goofy relationship on BTE and even on TV, I think. So they're playing into that. Whether or not that's a real life thing behind the scenes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But even if it's in kayfabe and they're dating, I think that that this is a good way to also have the best friends get jealous of Statlander.
Oh. Yeah, you definitely could.
And then not necessarily feud, but like they could do a whole Yoko Ono angle. They could,
I'm really sort of disappointed in how much Chuck and Trent haven't done or been able to do.
And even worse right now because Trent just got injured, didn't he? He's going to be out for a while. Was it a pec?
Yeah, like
I forgot
6 to 8 weeks.
I forgot what that one was, but
Like I think a torn pec.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
It's a torn something or other.
it is.
But it's just like fuck. And dude, and like Chuck is a former PWG world champion.
Yep.
Like
Highly underrated, and
dude,
he's
like,
one of those
Chuck E.
guys
T
that
is-
he's just got Chuck E. T. bod. He's got Fat Dad bod. Like that's
yeah,
the,
but dude, Chuck E. T is good.
he's
Like,
really good.
He's really good, and like I saw him wrestle Keith Lee for the PWG championship. Like fucking, you want to talk about a good ass match?
Yeah.
And he's literally like going out to the ring and grabbing the mic, and he's just like, "This piece of shit's going to WWE, and you're cheering for him to beat me and take the title. And what the fuck is wrong with you people?" Dude, I was just like,
He's the man. Yeah.
I love this guy.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she should join the best friends. If that were to happen, fine, I guess. Like,
yeah, I don't
whatever.
really care if she joins the best friends. I'm not going to be mad if she does, but I'm also not.
It doesn't do much for me.
Mm-mm.
No.
I mean, I don't need it to happen to be happy, I guess is what we'll say.
Yes. We'll shift gears a little bit here and go back to last week's AEW Dynamite. And one thing that a lot of eagle-eyed internet viewers and fans have noticed, and that was during the Kenny Omega Don Callis promo, where they were so rudely accosted by that jabron in I always forget his name. Is it Marvez?
Marvez? Alex Marvez?
Alex Marvez.
How
And
to
so-
speak Spanglish.
No, the other one actually. No,
Justin Roberts?
No, there's a backstage guy. He did the the first opening. Always forget this dude's name. I think it's Alex something too, though. But
Alex, not I don't know. Alex Riley, is he a thing?
yeah, I don't know that that's a thing.
I don't think so. He is a thing, but not this.
You'd
thing.
know who I'm talking about if you saw
I'm
a picture
sure
of him. But
I'm
yeah,
sure I should know.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be mad at us.
Somebody will
on the internet in
figure
some
it.
comment that I'll fucking
Yeah.
never read.
but he goes and accosts them in the lobby of the hotel as this is off time for Kenny and Don,
Right.
and they were so gracious enough to grant an interview.
Kenny's wearing a mask, right? Like,
Kenny was wearing a mask for some of it, takes it off like sort of midway through.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, but the big part about this is, of course, there's so much speculation about what's going on with Don, what's going on with Impact Wrestling, what's going on in the worldwide. What's is the collector going to be a real thing? Well, if you notice, Kenny was wearing 2 rings, one on 2 fingers on his left hand, and he seemed very deliberate in showing off the fact that he had 2 rings on, both different colors. Now, if you know anything about Kenny Omega, you'll know that he's a comic book fan, he's a Marvel fan, he's a gamer. Is this a symbolic thing for the Infinity Gauntlet?
I mean, I hope so.
Because if that's the case, it would make sense with having, of course, the AEW Championship, the AAA Championship, then 3 left. Well, what would it be? Impact, clearly, because of what has been developing.
Mm-hmm.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, because of where he's been, and maybe that happens, maybe that doesn't. And then I would say NWA. And then if you had a 5-belt Kenny on AEW, it would be incredible. And then he could float around and have to defend it at Impact, have to defend it at New Japan, have to defend it like these different places, all these different places he's going to have to pop up. So this is why I also think people have questioned why this is a good move for AEW having the partnership with Impact. But if you had a 5-belt champion, that's a cross-promotional champion on 5 different territories or promotions, then clearly his home promotion is going to be something that's people are going to come to. And that is why that this is a logical thing for AEW to do. This is something that's going to garner attention from across the wrestling world, if in fact they do what I'm proposing. But
Well, I mean, I don't think you're the only one that's proposing it.
no, of course not.
No, I love that idea. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's great. I want to see that level of cooperation with wrestling promotions from across the world, because I am of the belief that a rising tide floats all ships. And that if you can elevate the status of all of these companies, it will be good for all of them, not just one of them.
Yep.
And dude, you basically make it how Flair was back in the day, where if you wanted to bring legitimacy to your promotion, you brought Ric Flair over.
All you got to do is
And
book
yeah,
Flair.
you have him, yeah, like you had him, against your champion, and yeah, you're like, Flair wasn't going to lose, but your champion wasn't going to lose his belt either. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you'd have some sort of screwy finish or whatever. But the point was, you put asses in seats by putting the world champion in your territory. Essentially, that's what all these other companies need to do, because it will raise their profile. Kenny Omega puts fucking eyes on products.
Absolutely.
You know?
What do you think then? If we'll change subjects here, but shifting gears. Who do you, because it is the last Ono Wrestling of 2020. We won't do this as a formal thing, but I do informally just want to ask you, like,
informally.
Yeah, what are some of your standout moments and or stars of 2020? If you were to just pick a few and throw them out there, things that just I'll start it off right now. The Boneyard match.
Oh, the Boneyard and Boner Yard.
And Boner Yard match.
Both of those matches were amazing. I'm gonna say Reginald the Sommelier.
Oh, of
Breakout
course.
star.
Yes, our good
Breakout
friend
star.
Reginald.
Our good friend indeed. And then I honestly, man, fucking Roman Reigns.
Dude, it really is. It's so crazy to think, like, doesn't it feel like forever since he's been back now and with this new gimmick? But wasn't that SummerSlam?
Or shortly before, but yeah, it was right around there.
It was
like it was.
What was the big? Well, it was the pay-per-view. He came back at with the big surprise. So I feel like it was.
I think it was SummerSlam,
which
because it was back in August, right? Like
not that long ago, though. No. Realistically, not that long ago.
Months.
I'll say like a positive shout out to WWE in particular for all wrestling companies that were able to stay alive and were able to keep putting on productions. Like there's an honorable mention there, but the Thunderdome, because there's there's almost life after the Thunderdome and life before the Thunderdome, and they are drastically different when you really do look at the two products.
Dude, it's so weird. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they did the Thunderdome. I am looking forward to the day when
we don't have to do the Thunderdome.
Yeah, isn't necessary anymore. But until then, it is what it is. But they made the best of what they could. I'd give a negative shine to the majority of the rest of the empty PC Mania.
Yeah, except
only because they didn't really it was so new to them that they didn't have it figured out, and I can't even be mad at them for that.
No, they roll with the punches, and they did eventually figure it out. So that's a huge thing. I feel bad for Drew McIntyre. I've said this a million times. I feel so bad that he's not been able to experience a run as a champion with a live crowd, especially after that Rumble victory and all that. Like that was so important and so big. And taking out Brock.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Bailey and Sasha deserve a round of applause for the work that they've done this year. Asuka deserves a round of applause. Did you know that she has wrestled more matches in WWE than any other competitor this year?
No shit.
Asuka gets that. That. Yeah. I think it's 60 something. It's in the 60s.
That's impressive as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not surprised by that, but I'm like, huh. I don't know who the fuck else it would be.
No. Yeah, really.
Yeah, they were great. I'll say not having Goldberg or Brock Lesnar around for months has been great. I know that's going to change soon.
I'll add to that as well, and maybe some fans won't agree with this, but I'll add that not having Ronda around has been positive as well.
I think so.
Not having Becky has been
the
interesting.
Other women a chance. Not having Becky has been good and bad.
I agree.
Because I just feel they go back to I'm glad that they're sticking with Drew as being a champion, because he's the first one that they've sort of taken a risk with in a while since since fucking Jinder probably. Otherwise it's been AJ, Roman, Brock.
You can kind of throw KO in there, I guess.
Dude, how often has KO held the belt, though? That's the thing, is he had his Universal title run.
Then got murdered by Goldberg, and that was that.
There it was.
Yeah.
So,
some negatives. I'll say that very impressed with them trying new things with some cinematic matches, with some different styles of things. But there have been some bad ones, and I think I'm over them. for the most part. Like
Yep.
I think I'm over cinematic matches.
Yeah.
I think there's a handful of good ones and a real handful of bad ones. The swamp match or whatever that was just it was
Oh my
terrible.
God.
The Randy Orton Edge one in the PC was shit, but they redeemed it with having the best match ever, which really was a solid as wrestling match. So
Right.
so I can't knock them completely there. Trying to think of some of the other ones that happened this year.
Well, the
Oh,
Firefly.
Money in the Bank. That was the one.
Don't even talk about
Such a
that.
yeah.
That was terrible.
Well, and that kind of brings me to something that everybody is forgotten. Remember when Otis won Money in the Bank?
Mhm.
Like, what,
Sure do.
What the fuck happened with that? Poor
Filled
guy.
the briefcase with ham.
So, I kind of had this thought the other day. They could have made Otis work as like a transitional champion for a month or two if they wanted. They could have done that until Roman Reigns came back. And once Roman Reigns came back, any shot of that ever happening was never happening. And
But they had already squandered the Otis thing
probably a bit before
months
that.
before.
Yeah. I just wonder if
Unfortunately.
Otis hates Roman, like, or if Otis is bitter right now. And you think about it too, him and like Tucky, like, wouldn't they be better off just being heavy machinery again right now and being back where they were? Because
Back where they were, where in NXT?
well, just back on the main roster as a tag team and kind of a fun act.
Yes. There's only room for one fun act in WWE, and that's the New Day.
Yes, it
and
is.
You need to fucking recognize that. And I don't want that to be the truth, but I feel like it is partly the truth.
Well, what about the
And
Street
Vince is just
Profits?
like,
They're
no,
fun.
no. Street Profits are fun, but they're fun in a different way.
Yeah.
And they're, you know what I mean? Like they're the New Day are more goofy funny, and the Street Profits are more of that sort of like hood funny, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Also different brands, so you can get away with
Away with that a little bit more. Sure. I just feel bad for Otis. That's all. Like, and the
Otis is probably making $500,000 a year. I think Otis is fine.
Otis will probably be all right.
Yeah, Otis needs to go on a diet.
It's true.
I want Otis to live long enough to enjoy the money that he is making right now, because he is a bowling ball with arms and legs.
He's an unfortunate looking man.
His body shape is not good. It's like if you took this head and you put another tiny head on top of it and then sprung arms and legs.
He looks like
out of it.
Grimace.
Yeah.
He's a Grimace.
No, Grimace is like more like round at the bottom.
Yeah.
And like pointed at the top. Like he's more.
He's just Kool-Aid Man?
He would be more Kool-Aid Man.
Kool-Aid
yes.
Man is a little closer.
He's not full on Mayor McCheese or the Hamburglar, but
You talk about the New Day, of course, but that kind of leads me into a couple of things, because of course Big E becoming the new IC champ on SmackDown. Yes, I think we can all agree it's a second run.
Fantastic.
We all we forget that Big E
Yeah.
Langston has indeed held that championship before. They didn't really acknowledge that either on SmackDown. I don't think they never made mention of that. It was almost as if it was his first time. Thought it was interesting that he got confetti. They can do a lot though too if they want to continue the story with him and Sammy. I think they can keep that going for a little while if they want to. But what it does do in my mind is sort of take Big E out of what we were kind of hoping was going to happen. It kind of takes him out of the main event picture for WrestleMania and with the possibility of him winning the Rumble. I don't see.
That was what I thought.
It doesn't seem like they would do that. I would love a champ versus champ match and to have Big E win. I just don't see it happening. So it kind of feel like it robs us of that a little bit. But if he has a nice, strong IC title run, I think he can elevate the title like some people have been able to do. And I think that it's going to elevate him as well. I think it puts him in a much better place than he was, 6 months ago. So
I completely agree, and I think it's nice to see him with the singles title.
Yes.
And I don't think, I think that if you can get people behind Big E with the IC title, that you will be able to get people to want, you do that natural build.
I feel like this is almost an experiment to see by WWE to see how people do respond to Big E as a singles star, to kind of all right, we're dipping our toe in these waters here, and just to kind of see the response, and it's been big, and they're obviously, again, they must be somewhat clued into the fact that there's something going on here, because they wouldn't have done the whole confetti lumberjack celebration with all these guys raising them on their shoulders, all that sort of stuff. So they can't be far off, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
No, I don't think so. And they, you've put that IC title on a lot of people, so it's okay for Big E to have a run with that one, because they're just, dude, you're not gonna have him. You're not gonna have him beat Roman Reigns yet.
Not yet. Yeah, it's too soon.
It's too soon.
It's too soon for that. But he could possibly be the guy to do so down the line.
He could be down the line. He absolutely could. I won't take away from his ability to be that guy. It's just not the right time to take that away from Roman.
No, it isn't
yet, because he's doing way too good.
Yep.
As a complete and total asshole.
Oh, and that's been so much fun, kind of experiencing that. I love to see it, and it goes against everything that was previously Roman Reigns, which is why I think I like it so much.
100%. 100%. It's the Roman Reigns that we never thought we'd get, and it's just oh shit.
Oh wow,
they've actually for it.
It's it really is. It's similar to the turn Cena heel thing. The what ifs, we always kind of could it happen, and they they actually finally did it with Roman, and kudos for them taking that risk, because it was a risk to take one of your top guys, and if that went over like a lead balloon, then they've literally just fucked up one of their main merch sellers. Thankfully he's putting him with Heyman. I don't know if it would have worked without that. I'll be honest. Without Heyman, it would have still been okay. It wouldn't have had as big of an impact.
Heyman adds an extra layer of legitimacy to it.
I think that's probably the best way to put it, yeah.
It would have worked without Heyman, but to have it be that Heyman has sort of taken on Roman as his client as opposed to Brock, I think that lends more validity to Roman as a champion and as a contender.
Has he ever said he's not with Brock, though?
He hasn't, but he has always skirted the issue.
Right.
So for him to be advocating for Roman Reigns right now instead of
special counsel.
Sure. Whatever. I don't care.
No.
He's Heymaning for Roman.
It's all semantics, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, I think that it would have worked, just not as quickly and not to the degree.
Fair enough. I had a question for you too, because we were just talking about the New Day, of course, with what they're doing, and they just dropped the belts to the Hurt Business, who deserve another honorable mention in 2020. Fucking
100%.
I can't believe I like MVP. I've not ever been an
MVP.
I never was an MVP guy though, and but he's turned me around. He was always somebody that was just kind of was there. You know, I was
Yeah.
indifferent. I never disliked him. I just
Sure, you're just indifferent.
But I really, you know, the guy came back, had a match.
Mhm.
Came back at the Royal Rumble as a surprise entrant. Had a
Mhm.
match the following night with Rey Mysterio. Said that was his last match. Got a backstage producer role.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, maybe he's managing, and now like he's starting a faction. Now
Mhm.
he's wrestling again. Like it's all these like, what the fuck happened? But kudos to you, MVP. You had the best year probably of your career in WWE.
Pretty good one. I don't know how we could let ourselves call ourselves a wrestling podcast unless we gave a special significant recognition to the Undertaker.
Oh, of course. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Boneyard match. We touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
But the Boneyard match and then the
What a way
Last
to go
Ride
out.
documentary
Yeah.
and then the farewell at the Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. They couldn't have done it much better, really.
Not given the state that we're in right now.
Not given the state that we're in right now. So yeah, they handled that pretty damn well, and I don't think we've seen the last of the Undertaker. We've seen the last of him in a ring, but on screen at least. I
Sure.
still think you'll see. You won't see. Well, no, you'll see. You've seen the last of the Undertaker. You haven't seen the last of Mark Calloway. That's the best. That's probably the better way to put it. Yes, 100%. But the question I had when it comes to the Hurt Business is, especially because they lost the belts to the New Day,
Mm-hmm.
can the Hurt Business do freebird rules with those tag belts? New Day were allowed to.
I mean, I don't see why not. It's never been explicitly said yes or no. So I would think theoretically they could.
Yeah.
No reason they can't.
That's
Right.
kind of where I stand with it too, and it also it would prolong the life of the Hurt Business if they were allowed to do that, because now you can have Lashley drop the US but then still kind of help out with being a tag partner with Shelton Benjamin or Cedric every once in a while, and it also then furthers like the ability for them to tell the story with Cedric being the glory hound and being like that's an interesting one.
Do you think that the end game of this is Cedric taking the US title?
I didn't until you said it.
I didn't until I thought it.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, like I'm okay. I'm cool with that.
Because I can see the like, just like you said, right? Like they have the whole like they're a successful tag team for a while, but Cedric is a glory hound.
Mm-hmm.
It costs them the tag titles, and then he's just like, you know what? I don't need the tag titles. He's just like, I'll take your US title. And he starts mouthing off to Lashley. And MVP's like, no, stop. And Lashley gets pissed and is just like, all right, fine. And then they put the title on the line. And he beats Lashley.
I would be really into that. I think that's a cool way to do it. I also think that what they probably should do is, especially Hurt Business and Retribution, been having a lot of issues over the last couple of months, pretty much ever since they've had a minor feud going, and that's always kind of bubbling in the background there.
Yep.
And there's always been this interest with, of course, Ricochet. I think you turn Hurt Business eventually. I think you turn them face. I think that you then have Ricochet join the Hurt Business at a certain point, because I think he's going to get tired of this Retribution bullshit that he's going through. And it would serve Ricochet well to be surrounded by a group of guys like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
You've either got to you've got to do something with Ricochet. You've either got to have him join the Hurt Business, or you got to have him join Retribution. It's one of the two in my eyes.
God, they fucked up Ricochet so bad.
So bad.
They haven't given. Here's the problem. They haven't given enough people a reason to care about Ricochet. All they've given us
Yeah.
is that he can do flips and stuff.
He's a real life superhero, Duncan.
Okay, but like, tell me the story of why we like superheroes. We like superheroes because of their backstory. We
Because
like
they
superheroes
fight evil. They're good people. They're
What
like,
makes them the superhero? Like, who is like?
because
you
they
know what I
do
mean? Like,
flips, bro.
but yeah, but give me Bruce Wayne.
Right. Yeah.
You
No,
know what I mean? Like,
I'm
give
being
me-
facetious, obviously.
I know, obviously you are, but like, give me Peter Parker, give me Miles Morales, like, give me that new back, like, give me a backstory, make me care about the superhero behind the mask and the abilities. The abilities are just a secondary thing. Like, make me care about Ricochet.
Yep.
But I think that that's part of the thing is that Ricochet has always just been the high flying flippy guy
And
who can have a good match because he's high flying flippy guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sort of like Will Ospreay.
Sort of like Will Ospreay. Great wrestler. Very little character.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean, yeah.
The new thing in wrestling really is, and a lot of times, isn't it? Like it's that his character is to just be a good wrestler. Like, and it works for some people. It doesn't work for all, and it doesn't work all the time. And I think you can use that as a base, but you gotta kind of build it
It
up.
works for Timothy Thatcher, right? Like, it
Right.
works for that sort of like shoot style, like pure wrestling. It works for Jonathan Gresham in Ring of Honor. Like, it, it works for that.
Some of the English guys can get away with it too, like
Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne, but Pete Dunne has so much smarmy, snarky, just like
Yes.
gross, like just like he's a character in
He
and of
has
itself.
character
Tyler
in-
Bate, I would say, would be more like that than Pete Dunne.
And even then, Tyler Bate has that sort of like he's doing the whole
Yes, Mustache
and
Mountain.
like the sort of like the pretty boy, like it's the British strong style.
Chad Gable,
There you go,
that's a perfect example.
perfect
Like,
example.
and then we're gonna just throw Shorty G on him, but thankfully
Right.
it sounds like maybe we're done with that. And now we're going like the
but
Alpha
it's sort of-
Academy. Like,
Yeah, and but it's how Kurt Angle was, right? Like
Right.
Kurt Angle came in as like the Olympic gold medalist, and everybody's just like, we
but-
don't really care.
But as soon as he
And-
turned into the cocky heel, like that's when it worked.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So you can't just be a good, but yeah, like that whole like I'm just a good wrestler. That's my gimmick. I'm like,
yeah. It's just boring. Like it's
all right, fine.
Yeah,
Give me something.
something, just like something in your character for sure.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. On this week's Raw, we had a match between Keith Lee and Seamus, the winner of which would be going to face next week Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship.
Okay.
I really thought that they were going to be extending kind of a Drew Sheamus program because of this build. I thought that there was going to be a screwy finish. Sheamus was going to do something dastardly to be able to, pick up the win over Keith Lee, therefore sort of protecting Keith Lee, then extending
Sure.
a feud between, Sheamus and Drew, which the two can obviously work, I'm sure, pretty well together because of their history. They know each other really well.
Yep.
But that's not what happened.
Not what happened.
Keith Lee won the match, and he won it clean, which, okay.
I
Keith
would
Lee-
rather have that though.
I
because-
would and okay, hear me out here. I would and I wouldn't because Keith is working face right now. So is Drew. Like you would call, I can't see how you'd call Keith Lee a heel by any means at the moment. And
No.
and Drew's one of the biggest faces in the company, if not the. So
But Drew will work heel in that match.
will he? That's my question, I guess.
He
Is
should.
yeah, just
He's the champion. He should work heel.
Under what context?
Because the reason I say that is that like you can have this sort of a match where both people are technically faces, right?
And
Like,
I don't necessarily I don't hate that either, really.
No,
Like I don't
but
hate it as much as
also-
some people. It's just typical WWE like booking. I'm looking at it that way.
Yeah, but the champion will want to retain his title at all costs.
Right.
You have seen the mean streak in Drew. Like, look at the match he had with Roman.
Oh, such a good match, by the way. That's another 2020 shout out.
Right, 100%. So it will be easy for Drew to work heel, quote unquote, in the match,
right?
but not destroy any of his integrity as the character that he is, because that's sort of the line that he rides as that character.
Anything at all costs to defend the championship. Like that's what
100%.
That's what it kind of comes down to. So,
Yeah.
so we're both under the agreement that there's no way they're putting the championship on Monday Night Raw on Keith Lee. Like that's that.
Dude, I would pop so hard. It's not that Keith Lee doesn't have the ability to be the champion, because he absolutely does.
He does. Not yet, though. He's not been built right on the main roster. It doesn't feel like he's been built up well enough. So, I don't think in a million years he's getting it. But that's why I also feel like it was an interesting.
Like it should have been Seamus.
That it should have been Seamus, because like there's going to be, in some way we're going to damage Keith somehow in this. Like, and I just like I'm like well, that's me. I'm just like I worry for that.
I don't think we will.
No,
because we were worried that Drew and Roman was going to damage Drew.
that's a good point, and it didn't.
So as long as the match is a fucking hoss fight, as long as those two beat the piss out of each other.
I just figured it out. They just gave the
WWE, are you listening?
They just gave the briefcase back to Miz because of
Yep.
John Morrison cashed it in. Like whatever the logic was. By the way, that it doesn't make any sense, because Paul Heyman cashed it in, or when Brock Lesnar like took the belt.
Brock doesn't touch things by himself.
Yeah, that's true.
You leave him alone.
Okay.
Also, WWE logic, man, it doesn't count.
Right. It doesn't count. But this could be the comeuppance for Miz. Drew and Keith are so beat up, Miz can cash in on this Wednesday. Legends Night, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
End up picking up the belt. Now we can have a Drew Keith feud for who takes it off Miz, or then we can look at Mania stuff, and you could have Keith Lee win the fucking Royal Rumble if you wanted to. That would work very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also have Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble, and then we could finally get that Miz Daniel Bryan match at Mania for
which
the
I would
championship.
not hate. Which I wouldn't hate.
There's a few different ways you could go with this. I hope it doesn't go that way, because I have a feeling they're gonna have, even if it's not a full stadium, they're gonna have some fans in attendance at Mania this year. And I have a feeling
if the
about
NFL
that.
is doing it, there's no reason that WWE won't do it.
Correct. And therefore, I just hope in my heart of hearts that Drew kind of gets a moment. Like that's why I don't want him to drop it. I want Drew to have a moment at Mania, just because I think he deserves it. He does. But they don't work like that. But they don't work like that. That's
I agree with you.
Yeah.
He does deserve it. It's not what's going to happen.
I agree.
I think that he will beat Keith Lee after a fucking just a brutal ass match, but a good match, right? Because both Keith Lee and Drew can work.
Oh, they can, yeah.
And then the Miz will come down and cash in. Yeah.
It seems very likely that that's probably the way that that's going to go. I don't love it, but if it leads to that match I just talked about with, I mean, first off, you get D-Bry winning the Rumble too, like, because that will be a moment and a half. Like that could be huge.
It's, dude, the thing that's like, D-Bry is starting to transition to a backstage role in things,
but this could be his last.
It could be, but are you going to have him win the title to just kind of like give it up? Or to just kind of, you know what I mean? Like that seems
Realistically, what you need to have happen is him beat The Miz, but then The Miz a few months later take it back off him because he's the guy that they've had this kind of like mold around, or like this.
yeah.
Or
their careers.
Or there's also the other possibility, because you could have D-Bry go after Roman Reigns and be the one to take down Roman Reigns. Maybe he has his
Sure.
number.
Yeah,
There's that as well.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. I think that
It'll be Brock
regardless-
Lesnar Goldberg at Mania, and
for both titles.
they're unifying it.
They're unifying the World Championship, the Universal Championship, the Intercontinental,
Yeah.
and the U.S. title.
And throwing the European that doesn't exist anymore.
We're bringing that back.
just
And
for
the light
fun.
heavyweight championship, not the cruiserweight. That's
No,
a different
no.
thing.
Different thing. Light
But the
heavyweight.
light heavyweight championship, and throw in the busted ass old hardcore title.
Why not?
Oh God, I would hate everything so much.
But
I don't even
that's
remember
we're
what I was
looking
gonna.
at.
I was gonna make a point, and I don't even remember what it was because I just got so angry thinking about.
It's okay.
what the
It's okay.
fucking-
It's okay, because at the
But
end,
I think here's I remember what I
Okay,
was gonna
sure.
say. I think that regardless of what happens, the Rumble will be. I think it's gonna be Drew's last night with the title.
Oh, okay.
And talking about the Rumble, I wonder what sort of Rumble surprises we're going to have this year. Right?
They're
Like,
probably they're Edge
that's-
again. Possible. It's possible.
Possible.
Trying to think of people that maybe have been out that haven't really been in the mix. I mean, they fired everybody that's like that, so I don't know.
Right.
But it's we can usually at least get a couple of these, but with the landscape changing like over the last year or so, it's
Well,
so
we
much
also-
different, right?
Yeah, and we also don't have to necessarily make a prediction right now. We still got a couple weeks, but
No.
like who when are you gonna have fucking I don't even know, man. Like you gonna bring somebody up from NXT? Who are you gonna bring up? Whose career are you gonna ruin?
Adam Cole.
Probably.
Yeah. Does Finn come back into the fold? That would be a way to do it. Pull Finn back into the main roster.
I don't know if Finn has any desire to go back to the main roster.
I don't think he does. Sometimes you don't have that choice, though.
That's true.
Walter.
Ooh. I like that.
I think you could do that.
I think you could do Walter. Who leaves WWE in 2021?
Ooh. I would have. A while back, I would have said AJ, but I think it's been proven that he's signed his deal.
No,
and
he's
done,
signed another
he's
deal
good.
for
He's
sure.
Yeah, he's gonna retire there.
Yeah.
Swerve.
Oh.
He would be good in AEW. That's the only reason I say it.
I wonder how many years.
But he
Aleister
would be
Black
good on the
has
main.
left.
But he would be good on the main roster as
He would.
well. Like,
He
so
would.
I
I
can't.
don't think Swerve has had enough chance to show what he's capable of.
No. I kind of take that one back.
I think Aleister Black.
If we can only hope, especially with his wife Zelina Vega.
He doesn't even have
leaving.
to go to AEW, but I feel like I don't know when his contract's up, but I feel like when it's up, he's done.
If he wasn't with Charlotte, I would have even said the same about
Andrade.
Andrade. But
Yeah.
but
No, he's gonna
he's
end up staying.
he's
there.
gonna be a lifer. He's gonna be
Mhm.
Triple H's new BFF.
Oh yeah.
I don't see it
Let's-
happening, but one that I would like. Oh, give me KO and AEW all day long. That would be fucking
I
fantastic.
feel like KO is probably
I
gonna
think he's life or two.
chill here because he's kids.
Yeah.
Sammy Zayn.
Sammy would, yeah, that would be a good one.
El Generico is all elite.
No, he could never be. Is Sami Zayn his real name? Or is that
I don't know.
I'd have
that's-
to look that one up. I don't know.
But I mean, on the indies, he was always El Generico.
I know he was always El Generico, but I don't know. Ugh.
Dude, it would go over way harder than you think.
What if if you know what he could do? He could do a blue blazery thing.
He could.
Where he could do like he could have two personalities and kind of like work it like that. That would be kind of neat. Yeah, I think Aleister Black though, you're right, is probably the top one of those guys that I would say would be the smartest to move promotions.
Yeah.
Just because of how underutilized he's been. I know we're forgetting someone. I know we are.
Oh, I know we are. I'm sure we are. And I cannot for the life of me think of it.
If they don't do something with Pete Dunne as well, I could see him being great in another promotion. He's got everything that I like in a wrestler.
Shinsuke, when's his contract up?
Yeah, he's definitely if his is up, he's going back to Japan having 2 matches and then calling it a day. I would assume.
Oh, but he's gonna have 2-hour-long Broadways with fucking
Yeah.
Okada.
Yeah, to end his career. I mean,
Yeah,
or Naito,
completely.
one of the two.
Well, he'll probably end up having he'll probably do another year, and it'll end up
Do a
being,
loop
all the-
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, all the hits, and it'll be
That's-
Naito and Okada.
That's how I would see it too. I think that's probably accurate. I don't know. I don't really have any others that are reaching out to me. Do you want to do a quick little game of Hall of Fame? Who inducted who?
Hall of Fame, who done it?
Who done it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on. We'll do this. We'll do that, and then we'll get out of here. Let me throw some music on here. We gotta get
All
a
right,
little.
let's see who we got. Let's see how good I am at this.
All right. Who inducted Antonio Rocca? He's a posthumous inductee, one-time WWF International Heavyweight Champion, pioneer of the aerobatic wrestling style. Didn't even know who this guy is, so don't feel too bad. I've heard the name. But
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
good guess, but
Macho
no,
Man.
I would never have guessed this one because it doesn't even fit. It would never even fit, like for the person.
Yokozuna.
Like we're talking about, like you know who we should have as an acrobatic, guy. We should
High flying wrestler.
high flying wrestler. You know who we should have induct him? None other than Diesel, Duncan.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Not even Kevin Nash.
It just-
Diesel,
it
because it's
says-
1995.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
95.
god! So he came out and he had the glove. They inducted him as Diesel too.
I know they did.
God
Okay, I guess. Moving on, we've got the big cat, Ernie Ladd.
Lad.
Yeah.
Ooh.
By the way, it won several NWA regional titles and was one of few professional wrestlers to have had a successful career in American football, according to Wikipedia. Ernie Ladd.
Dude, I'm thinking of 95 and who was in WWF at 95 in 95.
This is an older guy that they've definitely brought in to induct him.
Man.
You'll know the name once I say it, but it's
Big John Studd.
very good guess, but no, it was Bobo Brazil.
Oh, god damn it.
Right.
We talked about him on the last
I know.
Fuck.
That's why I thought
I
it was
wanted to
funny.
say Kogo Beware. I'm like, that's not it. That's a
But
different one.
That wouldn't have been a bad guess either.
No.
This one cracked me up because I didn't know this. Who inducted one of professional wrestling's first monster heels, George the Animal Steele. This is
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Ooh, it should have been, but was not.
Who was it?
You're gonna piss yourself laughing at this one.
Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, George the Animal Steele was inducted by Doink the Clown.
I quit.
That's why this game is so fun, because it's just like it's not a game, it's just whatever it is. But
Best part is watching myself on the Twitch stream,
Yeah,
like just that.
it's me. I love it. I love it.
Reaction of Doink the Clown. Fuck.
Ivan Putski, a one-time WWF Tag Team
Oh.
Champion.
Polish Power, Ivan Putski.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Patera.
Nope.
You're like, I don't even know who Ken Patera
I don't
is.
know who Ken Patera
He
is.
was an Olympic wrestler. Killer Kowalski? Some other Polak. Triple H?
Well, it was all right, close enough. It was, I guess, his brother Scott Putski who did.
Oh my
inducted him.
god.
There you go.
WWE. They're really swinging for the fences in 1995.
They were lazy, is what
That's-
they were. They
That's
were
why
lazy.
1995 is considered the worst year in professional wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Damn it.
The Fabulous Moolah. You might be able to get this one. A four-time WWF Women's Champion prior to her induction, her reign is recognized as lasting a record 28 years. The first woman to be inducted. Again, the Fabulous Moolah.
Was it a woman that inducted her?
Yep.
Okay.
Who was the top women's star in 95.
Alundra Blaze.
100% correct, my friend. You got
That's what I was going with. I was like, wait a minute.
I'll give you a belt.
Yeah. We got one.
No, that's good. That's good. All right, all right. This guy was dead. A longtime heel manager in WWF when he got inducted. The Grand Wizard, which Erwin Roth, which the Grand Wizard, it's always been a little
Very
bit
racist, racist name.
Yeah.
I am familiar with who the Grand Wizard
I
is.
wasn't actually. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very familiar. But when I saw the Grand Wizard, I'm like, tell me he didn't. Tell me no, he didn't have a hood, did he? When he came.
No, but he had a different headdress.
All right.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Was it a manager?
No.
Hmm.
I feel like he must have managed this person at one period. I would assume. I don't know the fact on that one. I'd have to look it up.
Man, I can picture the Grand Wizard. He fucking WrestleMania like 1 or 2 or some shit.
Really?
I'm never gonna get it.
Yeah, no.
I can picture it, but
Well, I'll tell you who it was. None other than Sergeant Slaughter inducted him. There must be a connection there, whether it be backstage or whether he was a manager for him at one
guess.
point. I'm assuming. I don't know.
shit.
Last one of the evening.
Oh God.
Pedro Morales. Savio Vega. Oh shit! I just blew it.
You just blew him.
Yeah. So it was Savio Vega. I guess it's the reason I blew it is because in the side notes it says Savio Vega accepted the induction. One-time WWF World Heavyweight Champion whose reign lasted nearly 3 years, and the first WWF Triple Crown Champion. He was also the first Latino to win the title. So there you go, Savio Vega.
Savio Vega would make sense for 95.
Would you have guessed it?
I would. My initial instinct was Tito Santana.
That would have been a
So,
good. Yeah, that
but-
would have been a good instinct.
So I can't say. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, totally. I knew.
Yeah,
Savio.
got
No,
it.
I did
Yeah.
not. I
Everybody
will take
knows
my
that.
one for 1995.
Hey, you did pretty
Fucking
good,
happy with
man.
that.
You did pretty good. I'm
You got to admit, like some of the names that I pull out of nowhere, you're just like,
hey, I'm impressed. I mean, hey,
a lot of early '80s WrestleManias.
fuck it. And I feel like you could have got that Bobo Brazil one. I feel like you were a little bit robbed on that one somehow.
I was, oh man, like, because I remembered, I'm like Ernie Ladd.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and then so it's fine.
It's fine.
I'll take-
It's fine. It's not for
I'll
any
take my
points. It's not for nothing. It's
No, the
just
points
for,
don't matter.
Yeah, it's just for fun and games. I think that's all I really have to talk about, unless there's anything you wanted to kind of, shout out or mention before we get out of here, because we're about at the right point. I mean,
I can't believe that we're almost at episode 100.
Yeah. Let me actually see how many
We're
episodes.
97. This is
we
number 97.
This is 97.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, we'll maybe have to do something somewhat sort of special. Maybe just even having Matthew back on episode 100 will be will
well,
be something.
maybe we can get Reginald on the show.
Oh, that'd be cool too. That'd be
see about getting
fantastic.
Reginald on episode 100.
Yeah, if he's allowed to do it and all that sort of stuff.
I think he's allowed to do it. I think I've brought it up to him before, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, for sure." I just like, we can't be like, so tell us about the, you know what I mean? Like, don't be asking about things you obviously
super
know that we
backstage
can't talk
shit.
about.
Like, yeah, just but I'm sure he can talk about his experiences and kind of what he's going through now and his time with
Absolutely.
Carmella and everything like that. So I'd be really, really interested to hear about his life. And I mean, even if it's not episode 100, we're going to be doing that soon anyway. I'd love to do that. That being said, we do hope to have our good friend Matthew back next week. We'll see if that happens or not. He is a very busy man, our champion. We'll have to do, of course, like, we've got a couple weeks to think about it, but we've got a couple predictions to do here in the next few weeks, and we'll be doing those. But more than anything, we want to thank you to anybody that's been kind of like sticking with us and listening to the show, watching us on Twitch, checking out our YouTube channel. By the way, if you're not doing that, you're just listening to on our podcast, us on a podcast, then please understand that we do this show typically on Tuesday nights. It's usually between 8 and 9 o'clock that we start. And
Eastern time.
And if you're a member, Eastern time. And if you're a member of our Facebook group, we'll always let you know when we are indeed going to be starting the live broadcast. But that's over at twitch.tv/ONRS live. And you can follow us over there. And we hope that, first off, we thank you. Because we know this year has been tough. And we actually saw a huge spike in downloads over the last few weeks.
People have listened to all of the wrestling podcasts, and they have finally made their way to us.
To the best, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I highly doubt that, but we do our best, that's what's important, and we have a lot of fun doing it. We appreciate all you tuning in, every subscriber, every follow, all that stuff goes a long way. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube as well. We do have a channel over there. Just search for Oh No Wrestling. Find us, of course, at ohnowrestling.com. Find my other show, Oh No Radio Show, over at ohnowradioshow.com, and at the same Twitch channel, usually on Thursday nights, but tomorrow, since New Year's Eve's coming up and everything, we're going to be doing it tomorrow night over at, again, twitch.tv/ONRS live, 8:30 p.m. We'll be there. We love you. We hope you have a better 2021 than I'm sure your 2020 was. And Duncan, the last time for the year, what do we say when we get out of here? It's time for a tipsy ad. Yeah, I'm gonna do this ad a little bit, tipsy, if you know what I mean. So, again, you know what we're doing. Thanks so much, you jabronis, for listening to the ONO radio show. Means the world to me, and I hope that you really, really, truly know that. In case you didn't know, you can watch and interact with live in our chat room Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/ONRS live. Again, twitch.tv/ONRS live. There's a full video version of our show, and you can chat along with us in a chat room on the side. We read the chats. Trust me, we do as we go along. Video is also posted on YouTube like the next day, or actually it's usually the night of. You can find all of that at ONO Media. Just search for ONO Media, and please subscribe, like, follow on there, I want my YouTube shits to get, I want to be bigger on YouTube. I want to be a big guy, be a superstar. But we're also doing some other stuff over at ONOmedia.com because we're doing a lot of video production lately, and it's something we're really super proud of. You might have seen it on other shows. So if you want to, increase the value of your product, of your service, your advertisements, or if you just want cool fucking looking shit like we got and like Tom and Dan got, please hit us up on our contacts over at onomedia.com. Apart from that, don't forget we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/ONRS. We'd love for you to join because we got tons of bonus content over there. For $2 a month, you should do that. And of course, if you're a fan of pro wrestling, or the graps as we like to call it, there's a little site and a little podcast I do over at onowrestling.com as well. So check that out. We love you. Enjoy the rest of the show.